On December 30th, 2024, we've got a new moon in Capricorn. This happens at 5:27 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. Calculate that for your own time zone. This one has a lot of the Capricorn energy. It's at the end of the year, and so we're really asked to evaluate what's working, what's not working. But there's an extra twist to this one, and that is that Chiron, the wounded healer, stations direct in Aries the day before. So on December 29th at 4:13 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, again, calculate that for your own time zone. But those energies of Chiron, of the pain, of the wounding, of the things that maybe we came in with. Chiron often is the wound that never totally heals. You know, it's that kind of core wound from childhood that keeps cycling back around no matter how much older we get. We do have a place to become the wounded healer, to come from compassion, but the reason that we're able to do that is because of that Chiron wound. And so this particular new moon in Capricorn is going to have an extra healing flavor to it that can play out as kind of surprising pain, or if you are working the energies, if you're aware that this is in the mix, then it's actually a really good time to set intentions for your own healing, to set commitments for what is it next year in 2025 that you will be doing differently. So, New Year's resolutions, they come and they go, but the energies of 2025 are very, very different than anything that we have had in recent history. Also, with the North Node moving from 0 degrees Aries to 29 degrees Pisces on January 11th, that actually is the end of an 18.6-year cycle of the North Node moving backwards through the zodiac. So we're getting an extra reset energy, and it really starts on this new moon in Capricorn. So the Sabian symbol for the Chiron direct point, it's at 19 degrees Aries, exactly 19 Aries. Now, that means that the Sabian symbol is actually different than what it was for that eclipse back in April. On April 8th, there was a Sun, Moon, Chiron exactly conjunct eclipse, and it was in the same degree, but it was a little higher up in that degree. So we get a slightly different flavor, and I feel like it's more positive this time around. So the Sabian symbol is the magic carpet of Oriental imagery. And then Dane Rudyard has a keynote, the use of creative imagination, a strife transcending an unattached outlook upon everyday reality. So that's a clue if the wounds come up, if the pain comes up, that there is potential here to transcend. There's the potential to call in some kind of spiritual support, some kind of energy that helps us heal on the soul level, but we don't have to do it all ourselves. And so if these wounds have been cycling back around over and over, there actually is a chance for more of a breakthrough at this time. Also, Chiron has been crisscrossing that 19 Aries point really since 2023. And so this is actually going to be the last time that Chiron will be in that degree for like another 49 to 50 years. So if you have things in your natal chart, say from like 15 to 24 degrees of the cardinal signs, this is going to hit you more than most people. Cardinal signs, again, are Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn. But especially if you've got something around 19 degrees of Aries, you've been getting hammered really for like the last year and a half. And the good news is that that is actually finishing up here at the end of 2024. So some positives there. Now, the new moon in Capricorn kind of sets this new energy, sets the intention for the healing that is coming up to be embraced on the 29th. So the new moon in Capricorn, in most parts of the world, this is a black moon, meaning it is the second new moon in a month. For some people further west, the new moon in Sagittarius wasn't on December 1st, it was on November 30th. But for most people in the world, this is a double black moon month. Again, kind of establishing that end of the old, beginning of the new kind of energy. So the Sabian symbol for the Capricorn point is Capricorn 10. We always round up. An albatross feeding from the hand of a sailor. And then Dane Rudyard adds a keynote, the overcoming of fear and its rewards. And so again, with these energies, the core wound, especially the core wound in Aries, is often dealing with courage, dealing with those fears that keep us small. And so this is coming up. Capricorn is a sign of leadership. It's a sign of kind of becoming the authority, a little more professional, not being like the little child. That would be more the Cancer energy or even Gemini energy. But the Aries Capricorn energies that we're going to be experiencing at the end of 2024 really emphasize a need to forge ahead. That's the Aries. A need to move beyond the fear. That's both the Aries and the Capricorn New Moon in this case. And also just really taking stock. What's working, what's not working. And so I do want to make an announcement just about this channel in terms of the new moon. This is actually going to be one of my last new moon or full moon videos. I'll still continue to make them if it's an eclipse or if there's some major astrological event happening. But what I looked at next year is just all of the changing energies that are happening in 2025. There's a lot of planets that are changing signs. The North Node is changing signs. There's some really significant shifts happening that we haven't seen in a long time, if ever. And I just feel like it takes time, it takes money for me because I have an editor to make these videos, and I really need to prioritize what is going to have the biggest impact for people. And I just feel like if I'm spending all my time on the new moons and the full moons, then I'm not going to have time to do some of these more important shifts. And so you're probably going to see more of the discussion format videos with Timothy Glenn, possibly with some other people in my professional life. I'm also working on a book, The Astrology of Near-Death Experiences. And so I may have some people on that are doing research in kind of corollary areas with some of that. That's really where my passion is. And that's also where the doors are really opening for me. So I'm sharing that just because I know people have been watching these new moon and full moon videos, and I'm not stopping my channel. I'm just making some adjustments, and it's a very Capricorn kind of thing to do. It's the energy that we're being called to do at this time with these energies. So just a heads up that things are going to be shifting with my channel, and I would encourage you in your own life to really do kind of a cost-benefit analysis. And it doesn't have to be just about money. It could be, what are you getting for the effort that you're putting into things? What is it accomplishing in the world? And do you need to tweak that? This is a time where we're really being given opportunities, but also kind of a big nudge to take a look at what is working, what isn't working. And with Saturn, the ruler of this new moon, still in Pisces and pretty tightly square Jupiter in Gemini. The exact square was December 24th, but it's still very tight at the time of this new moon. That kind of has the energy of realism, Saturn, squaring Jupiter, the optimist. And so, we have the big ideas, the future plans, all of that with Jupiter, the encourager, but the energies are such that we're being asked to say, hey, not all this pie in the sky stuff, like let's get practical. That's very Capricorn. Let's assess, does something need to be tweaked? Does something need to be shifted in your life so that you could be more effective? And it doesn't have to mean that you hate the old or that the old is terrible. It just may be that you have more to share with the world, and you can't do it if you're kind of spending your time doing these other smaller things. And so have a look there in all different areas of your life. Saturn and Capricorn rule the bones, the teeth, the skin, and all the structures. So that's structures in your life, that's structures in your body, that's structures in government, in the world. So these are the things that are kind of up for review. And that always happens at the end of a year where people are kind of assessing, hey, what worked, what didn't. It's just that this year the energies are a little more urgent, a little more pressing, because next year is going to come fast. There's going to be so many changes. And the good news is that there will be a lot of opportunities, but you're not going to be able to keep it all. You're not going to be able to have absolutely everything the same as it has been. And so that you don't miss the opportunity, I think it's important to really be honest with yourself what is working and what is not. So a couple other interesting things about how powerful this new moon is. So it's not particularly making tight aspects with other planets, but there are a whole bunch of conjunctions right smack dab on the new moon point. So the sun and the moon, obviously, because it's a new moon, they're always together at a new moon. But then we've got Pholus, the small thing, big effect centaur. We've got Quawa, which is a dwarf planet, also known as a trans-Neptunian object. It's way, way out there, but has this very powerful energy of transformation, especially spiritual transformation. It can also be associated with deep spiritual healing and with insights that just kind of come in out of nowhere. That's Quawa, also conjunct Pholus and the new moon. And then we've got asteroid Lilith. And asteroid Lilith is not the same as true black moon Lilith. People that follow this channel know that I really pay attention to true black moon Lilith, also known as the oscillating lunar apogee. But asteroid Lilith is she's the only physical Lilith in astrology. She's an actual asteroid, whereas true black moon Lilith is a point. But it's a different flavor of the Lilith energies. So oftentimes with asteroid Lilith, you get more of the protester vibe, more of the activist vibe, especially for women's rights, and especially kind of the rage can come out a little more with that one. So with asteroid Lilith, you get a little more of that rage. You get a little more of that, burn the town down kind of protest energy. Whereas with true black moon Lilith, you get more of the trauma, the grief, the energy of sexual abuse can come up with that one. Now, this new moon does square true black moon Lilith. It's just less exact. True black moon Lilith will be at 6 Libra, and the new moon and all of these other points and planets are at between 9 and 10 degrees of Capricorn. So, looking at Pholus, I personally believe that Pholus is one of the most underestimated planets. They're all considered planets in astrology. It's a centaur, but one of the most underestimated impacts in events. I notice Pholus shows up in all sorts of life-changing events, oftentimes the type of events that initially don't seem like such a big deal. They might seem like just a tiny little shift, but then the ripple effect, when you look back in time, you realize, oh, that was the thing. That was the trigger. And so all of this kind of lets us know that whatever we're working on, whatever we're assessing, whatever we're trying to kind of do, this list and that list, the pros and the cons, whatever effort we put into that is likely to bear surprising fruit as time goes on. And so it's worth it to take the extra time at the end of the year. If you are suffering, if you are, mourning people that are no longer with us, just know that you're not alone in that. There's a lot of this happening right now all around the world with younger people, with older people. It's just kind of what we're in right now. And some people are going to make the shifts and other people are going to shift into a different realm. And that's okay too. Timothy Glenn and I have been trying to prepare people for this, but it's always kind of a shock when it hits you personally. So just a heads up, there's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot of positive energy with this Capricorn new moon if you work it, if you take an honest, realistic assessment with where are things going in your life and what are your goals? What are your big dreams that you would like to accomplish in the next few years? This is kind of setting the stage for how are you going to accomplish that. So take good care of yourself. Take the time to nurture. It's a great time to, do a facial or to do something like yoga where you're really working on your structural alignment, chiropractic, things like that, but also sort of like internal chiropractic in your life, in your attitudes, really looking at where are you not aligned? Where can you pull things in more? I did want to get back to that Sabian symbol of the new moon of an albatross feeding from the hand of a sailor. So an albatross is usually considered like a kind of burden. I mean, in this case, it's not like Coleridge's poem, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, where, the albatross is hanging on his neck, but it's still, an albatross is often like a burden. In this case, we are looking at what is a burden in your life. We've got Pluto in early Aquarius, Mars moving retrograde in Leo, and on January 3rd, we'll be exactly opposing Pluto in Aquarius. Mars acts early though, so we're going to have that energy at the time of this new moon as well. And just look at what are the burdens in your life, because Pluto destroys stuff, right? Pluto destroys whatever is standing in the way of new life. And so consider if some of the things that feel like they're trying to move out of your life that maybe you're trying to hold on to, just be honest. Is that an albatross? Is that something that maybe needs to be let go in order to have more life show up? So I hope that this is helping you to kind of reframe some things and also to prepare you for all the different energies in 2025. I will be back in the new year. I wish you all the very, very best. Peace.